All right, good evening, good day from wherever you are joining us from tonight. Welcome to everybody that is on the call. We are quite excited to have you here this evening. Okay, I suppose just before I get into today's session, let me just ask that everybody just find the chat function on this call and just let us know where you are joining us from. I will be looking through the messages and reading them out in a moment. Before I get to those, if you are on your mobile device, please make sure that the option you are looking for is in call messaging on your mobile device. And if you are on a computer type device, at the bottom right of your screen, there is a little chat icon. You can use that to put in your comments. Let us know which country, which province. Highly appreciate that. So while you are doing that, I just want to let you know that this evening we are doing our open mic session. This is the third one in a row. So, quite excited. And today we are talking anything Lumi, anything NetFem, all your Swifin experiences. So, any questions, any comments, any experiences you'd like to share, any challenges that you are experiencing in your locality, and any ideas that you might be having about how to uh, make the Lumi revolution grow in your locality and expand from there. That's what we are talking about this evening. And I think most of all, this evening is about you. Hence, we are calling it an open mic session. So this means you have the opportunity to ask questions, to ask any comment, make any comments. You are directing the conversation this evening. So you get to tell us what you want to talk about, and that's what we will talk about. Okay, so just before I hand over to Moa to do the opening remarks, I'm just going to read the messages in the chat. I see Ruth joining in from Zambia. David saying good day. Please let us know where you're joining from, David. Martina from Nigeria. Craig from Zimbabwe. Leonard in South Africa in Mpumalanga Province, Flori Nkomo from Zimbabwe, Mzo from South Africa, Eastern Cape, Ame from Nigeria, Mundisa Utsile from South Africa, Northwest Province in Mahikeng, uh, Ngwana Mwalo from Johannesburg, um, Terence from Zimbabwe. Good evening, good day, everyone. Thank you for your comments. Please keep them coming. If you have just joined, please feel free to put your comment there in the chat. Just for some housekeeping rules, I have put everybody on mute, and I do try and keep everybody on mute as they join. So if you have just joined and you're not on mute, please help us by putting yourself on mute so we can manage the background noise for the recording. Okay, without any further ado, I'm just going to hand over to Moa to start us off with any opening remarks. Moa, over to you.
Thank you very much, Lerato. Greetings to everyone joining us from wherever you are. We appreciate you joining us tonight. And what we have decided to do is to have Saturdays as open mic session because we want to not only be the ones talking and presenting, we appreciate what we were taught by Paulo Freire, who said, every experience, or rather every person, whether a learner or an educator, have got knowledge and some form of experience. Now, you've had experiences with Lumi, with NetFem, with Swifin, and so on and so forth. And it is not only us who should be almost talking, but we should have space for us to have dialogue, and that's the purpose. But the second important comment before I allow Lerato to proceed is the following. The reality of all history, literature, research says that Africa for more than 350 years has never had a breakthrough. And since colonial domination after slave trade, Africa never saw the light of day. That is still the case today. Now, one call that I would like to make tonight is an invitation to each one on this call to determine to answer the question, what am I doing to take advantage of this opportunity offered by Lumi to turn the situation around in my locality, building a capability to reverse what has happened in more than 350 years past is for us to build local capacity capabilities, because it is locals areas that are feeding regions and nations and provinces. It is a family unit that gives birth to a child who, if nurtured well, can become a solution to their family, to their community, to their region, to their nation. Now, what is it that you can do, assuming that Lumi is a new child that gives birth to us as individual actors who are having certain ambitions about developing and changing our material conditions. And I would like to end it there by saying, building this from your locality into your region, into your nation, it's your responsibility. And that is why today we are inviting you to journey with us in constructing ecosystems that requires mindset shift for us to be long-term thinkers, long-term actors, long-term planners, so we can turn things around. We at least have just over 2 years for Lumi to stop being issued for free. What is it that we can do at your locality? How can we support you? What are your experiences? What are your challenges? What are your queries? What are your um, ambitions? Thank you very much, and I hand over to Lerato, hoping that we are going to have interesting engagements and exchange and cross pollination of ideas and so on and so forth. And tell us, what is it that you have in mind? Thank you. Lerato, I give back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much more. I think I'm going to give over to Balisa to do some introductory remarks. But before I do that, I want to just urge everybody that is on the call that has subsequently joined. Let's start by saying welcome to everybody. And please head over to the chat and let us know where you are joining us from this evening. If you're on your mobile device, please, you are looking for in call messaging. That is the option you are looking for to actually put in a message in the chat. If you are on a computer type device, at the bottom right of the screen, you have a chat icon. You can use that to specify where you are joining us. I think over and above, so that after Balesa's remarks, we can move into taking your questions, your experiences. Please use the chat functionality. Let me know what you want to talk about. If you have any questions, please start putting them in the chat. We are talking anything Lumi, anything NetFem, um, anything that you really want to talk about, creating ecosystems, your experiences, your challenges, registering, everything. So we are taking questions on anything and everything. So let's hear what you have to say. Put your comments in the chat, or just indicate in the chat that you would like to start off, and then I will call you up and you can come off mute and give us your comments, questions, uh, experiences. Okay, Balisa, I'm going to hand over to you, your remarks.
Good evening, good day, good morning. Thank you, Lerato, to everybody in the call this evening. Greetings to you all. My name is Balisa Lehasa. I am based in South Africa, in the Northwest Province. And I'm very, very excited. Always, every time when I get engaged, or I get to listen to various people talking about the concept of Lumi, it always fascinates me. And tonight, in my mind and in my heart, I just want to share a very important principle that at the moment for me stands out when I think about Lumi, and that is mindset shift. A mindset shift from being a consumer to being a producer. Moa just alluded briefly in his opening remarks that um, Africa's time is now for us to change our mindset when it comes to uh, doing things ourselves. It is without doubt. We cannot deny the fact that Africa is a cradle of humankind, and we are rich in so many resources. Yet there's nothing for us to show for that. Instead, the mindset is that from other nations, especially the European side, the Western side, to say we are like beggars, people who are always being bailed out. So we are trying to, with Lumi, the vision is really to say we are turning things around, to say, yes, we are rich, we can produce what we eat, and we can eat what we produce. So in Lumi coming into the space, and with that vision in mind, to say let's move from being consumers and to being producers. So when it comes to things of like money, when it comes to, now I'm talking now digital current digital now it's a digital like Lumi is a digital coin, with the aim of us as Africans starting to trade among each other using this very coin. In other words, if I'm now in South Africa and we're using rands in South Africa, and I want to trade with somebody sitting in Egypt, I don't have to change my rands to somebody else's, to another currency. In other words, in this case, it would be a currency used in Egypt, right? So Lumi is it's a coin that is aimed for us to trade among each other as Africans in the African diaspora countries. So with it having real value, being backed up by real assets, which is again our rich, in this case, natural resource, which is the sun. We are able to extract the energy that we are able now to sell as well and to produce as well. So that's number one. Number two, it is backed up by gold. So what's important to note here is the value that this coin carries and the significance that it poses for us to use it among each other without us now changing it into our local currencies in our various countries. So when we use it among each other, obviously now it's still new for a lot of us. It is not used like more what I just alluded to say. We the users, the people who are aimed at using the coin, we must start initiating how we can be able to teach each other about what this coin is all about so that we can start using it. In other words, if I've got a business, it doesn't matter what type of business it is in any industry, we are able to trade among each other using the very Lumi, which is borderless. So we can trade among each other. So that's how it grows. That we are able to, all of us, um, now take part into economic revolution. That's how I see it. To say we are now starting to we driving the value of this coin by using it among each other. How somebody may ask themselves, how is that possible? Now let's look at the uh, like, okay, in our various countries, we've got our own currencies, yes, and they've got certain types, like the currencies have got different values, right? And the value is mostly uh, there's something called inflation, which a lot of which eats away the value of our money. So sort of goes down. So if I'm like in South Africa now and I want to change my Lumi into rands, it means I am changing something which is valuable for something that is less valuable. I don't know if it's making sense, because it's not, my rents are not backed up by anything. Government decides how many coins to mint, or how many what's this notes to print. So with Lumi, with it being backed up by real assets, we are sure of the value that it carries. So if we start using it among ourselves to produce, to drive our businesses in various sectors, it is sure to really, the world will take us seriously. I can imagine like Lumi being on the same level as the dollar, one Lumi being $1. That when if you can reach that level, I think that's where the other countries will take us seriously. So the aim is to really use the Lumi coin, digital coin, in its form in Lumi. So it is not to drive and change it, because now we are told it's a stimulus. We're getting free money. It is free so that we can be stimulated to starting something, because I don't have it. I want to start something. It's like you're planting a seed. Now, this seed, you need to water it. You need to be able to look after it. How do we do that? We do it by initiating to use the coin among each other. Whether you're a producer, whether you're in retail, whether in whatever sector, if we start doing that, we are able now to grow our economy, our economy as Africans. And that's when I think the world will start looking at us differently.
Yep.
So we move from being consumers to being producers. In my mind, I'm thinking, maybe a couple of generations to come, the future generations, they will be talking about like Africa as a powerhouse, where other countries, when they look at us, they don't look at beggars, but they look at people who are inventors, who are capable of doing things themselves. And it starts now with us now driving this vision, making sure that we pave the way, making sure that those who are coming after us, we will it's like we're going to be handing down a baton that they can also carry forward, to say we stand up as Africans, we stand up for ourselves, we do things ourselves, and we want the world to take us seriously. So being a business woman or businessman, that you are able, again, with the stimulus that is currently in place, you are able to also get assistance now to grow your business. For that to happen, we need to start using the Lumi. So I want us I was just trying to allude a little bit on the mindset um, concept that we are really trying to push for, to say let's become producers instead of consumers. And for us to be able to do that, we need to start using our Lumi in its current form, in Lumi form, not wanting to change to another currency for trade purposes. It's a different, yes, when something is new, it's a bit difficult to use it, because a lot of people don't understand, which is why it's important for us to start educating each other. What I know and understand of the coin Lumi, I'm able to translate to those who are around me, so they too can understand it. It will not take a day, it will not take 2 days. It probably is going to take us some time, but we've started the journey. So for us who are already here, I think it's important for us to not give up on whatever ideas we've got. We've got to really push for those to happen, like especially starting those local ecosystems where your small plaza shops, your small business people in various sectors, that they are able to start, accepting Lumi as a form of payment and transacting as well. Whether maybe like now we're starting maybe 50, if say something is costing $100, for example, maybe 50% of that is going to be in Lumi, and then 50% of that is going to be in your local currency. So, and then as we evolve and we carry on in the coming years, we can eventually reach a point where a lot of us, well, I'd like to believe for all of us as Africans and African diaspora countries, we start using the Lumi and we become a powerhouse. Africa now starts becoming a powerhouse where poverty is going to be eradicated. For me, it's about poverty eradication, it's about empowerment, it is about really a sense of we are capable as Africans to do things ourselves. And
Awesome.
we want to be taken seriously. Thank you very much, Lerato.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Palisa, for that loaded remarks. I think Palisa mentioned some really mind uh, grabbing things around a mindset shift. And that is basically the beginning of any revolution, the mindset. But before I go into that, let me just head over to the chat. And I see David has asked a question in the chat. We've yet to receive our Lumi. Me and everyone I registered. Just worried. Maybe it will reflect later. Moa, do you want to speak to that?
Yes, David, I am certain that if your account was open by the 27th at 11:59, you will receive your Lumi. I know that there's often delays that happen, but it's gonna definitely come through. Mine, for example, by 8 this morning, it was not in, but when I checked around 11, it was in. So just hang in there. As long as you have Swifin ID, that means that you've got an account that is qualifying to receive Lumi.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Moa. Thank you so much, David, for that question. Just to highlight, this is an opportunity for you to ask any questions, any comments, share your experiences with us around the Lumi, around the NetFem program, around your experiences with building ecosystems. What challenges have you um, encountered and how are you dealing with them? What do you need help with? So that's what we are here for this evening. And I just need to highlight that chances are, if you are struggling with something or you have a challenge in a certain area, somebody else has a similar challenge. So asking the question, we can put all our brain power together and come up with a resolution. I see King Charles says he received his first transaction in 6.2 Lumi and a 0.278 transaction. Please, after the presentation, give me an explanation about it. So, more, do you want to talk to the 0.278 transaction that David saw on his account?
Yes, I want to. I believe this is a payment. I suppose it's payment coming into your account over and above 6.26. So the 0.278 is a fee that you receive because of your recruitment. You probably have recruited somebody who's your first generation or second generation. And depending if this person is second to you or it is someone um, recruited by someone you recruited, then you get a certain fee coming to you. So that's the transaction about it. I hope that answers the question. I know that we can become more technical about it, but I do not want to risk misleading you now. But there's about 5 levels where, depending on your account, you receive a fee. 16% is the first tier. The second tier is less until the fee that you get rewarded for recruitment of this person who would have made a transaction. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, more. And just to highlight, at the next week Thursday session, we will be talking about the tiering system and how it works and all the revenue that you can generate based on the tier and the type of account that you have. So that's something that is on the agenda for next week Thursday, 7 o'clock, South Africa Standard Time. So be sure to tune in.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm sorry, Lerato, just to also add, this is basically something that will continue as long as these accounts exist. In other words, in future, whoever transacts who I have recruited, 16% of a fee of 16% of the value of what he spends will be given to me by the state of African diaspora.
Awesome. Thank you, Moa. I see Ronald. According to David, is there a time frame we should expect that by that time we should have received? I'm going to just take a couple of questions more and then we can talk to those. Then I see a question from Ruth. How can I convince someone that there is no link or relationship between the Lumi and the Illuminati? So I'm going to take those two questions first. Please do keep your questions coming. More, I'll ask you to talk to the time frame, and if possible, I will ask the Minister of Family and Social Economy of the State of the African Diaspora to talk to us about how do we let people know that there is no link between the Lumi and the Illuminati. More, go first.
Yes, time frames. I am not able to give you time frames, but I can certainly say that it will come through. I have not since March this year missed a single deposit. Let me not give timelines, but I know that it will definitely come through. If it doesn't come through, you can still escalate and to help desk. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Uh,
Dr. Chong?
yes, I wanted to just clarify a little bit about the amount that is your commission from Swifting platform. It's
I am not
16.
sure if it's me alone, but Dr. Chong is quite is not audible.
Am I low?
You are a bit low, but we can hear you.
Okay. The the amount that is given as a commission, right? There's a different commission given, of course, going from the individual to the business, which is greater, and then the merchant is greater, and
Excuse me,
then
Dr. Chong.
yes.
Lerato, if I could be mistaken, but I hear literally nothing. But I see the sound is, um, but I hear nothing. For purpose of recording in the meeting, could we just double check if it's only me or not?
I am able to hear Dr. Chong just fine. Balesa, are you able to hear Dr. Chong?
Yes, I can hear her.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Chong, please proceed.
Okay, I am driving. Is my car engine causing a problem? Because I can stop.
No, we can hear it in the background, but
Okay,
it's fine.
great.
We can
Thank you.
hear you.
All right. The 16% is 16% of the fee for making the transaction. It's not 16% of the transaction. Okay, that is one area of clarity. So that it's not 16% of the transaction. It is 16% of the transaction fee. So are you aware of the difference there? That's number one. The other thing is that the four tiers are the individual, the business, the merchant, and the agency in that order. So if you register persons on the individual, you get a certain amount and increases for each of the tiers. And of course, the next Thursday meeting, we are going to be looking at all the tiers and all the different characteristics of the tiers. And you need to get as many people on because everybody can register for all four tiers. Because there were some questions in the chat during the week about changing your individual to your to a merchant or to something else. And I am going to suggest that you do not change, but you add on. And I originally registered for all four. So you would need a different email and a different telephone number for each one. But and of course the business registration. But the issue is this, that you need to come on Thursday ready to register for all four if you so qualify. And each one gets the $100 stimulus, plus they have opportunities for other investments and other, um, what should I say, they can get loans, no interest loans, and so on. I think that is it.
Awesome.
Oh, the
Thank you
other
so
thing I
much.
wanted to say was about the ecosystems. We are now launching our ecosystems in Jamaica, where whatever area you do not have products available in Lumi, then within your group or community, you identify persons who wish to be distributors of foodstuffs, dry goods, whatever else you buy at the supermarket, but is coming from within your group, where we have identified suppliers who will then supply your group at a discount, so you can then mark it back up to the supermarket prices. And the difference, less your costs, will be applicable to your paying in Lumi. So it's the same system that I think somebody was explaining before, but this would be controlled by the group, within the group. So there's opportunity outside the group, there's opportunity within the group. And it is all about maintaining your sovereignty. So you have many, many choices for using your Lumi. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Minister. Can you touch on the difference between Lumi and Illuminati?
Well, as far as I know, Illuminati is a group of persons who, I don't know much about them because it's a secret society that wants to control the world, and they are related to the cabal, the elites, and those who want to just control the world's monetary system, control the world's health system, control the minds of the people, and take away everyone's sovereignty. That's what I know about Illuminati. They target celebrities and persons who have influence, and they use them to trap persons in their own ethnic groups or their own communities and areas of interest in an attempt to have mind control, bio control, and financial control. SOAD was uh, the brainchild of several persons from the Pan African movement. This is the state of the African diaspora, who wanted to bring back the sovereignty of individuals to themselves, the sovereignty of communities, the sovereignty of families, and the sovereignty of nations and ethnic groups, where there would be no control by any outside force, but they had the opportunity to decide what they wanted to control of their assets and who they wanted to be controlled by. In order to do this, one needs to have three systems at least. We need to have a communication system, we need to have a monetary financial system, and we need to have a health system, because those were the three things that were controlling us from Illuminati the cabal, the elites. I don't know what you want to call them. Now, one of the things that we found is that we needed to have a common currency. This common currency happened to have existed before SOAD was in place. It was the currency that was engineered for the um, people of the Maroons of Jamaica. And they looked at it and said this would be a good currency. And this currency was um, identified as one that we could use. Both the African kingdoms, the SOAD and ECO6 decided that this currency was a good currency. Now, why is it called the Lumi? Because we wanted to find something that was inexhaustible as its backative. Let's just put it that way. So there was a round robin done with all the kingdoms of places that had gold reserves, and they agreed that they would use all their gold reserves to peg it to this money. They are not about to dig up their reserves, but they would keep it as a reserve peg, let's just put it that way, for the money. Now, why the name Lumi? Because the other inexhaustible source that we identified was the sun. And we started to work on technology to move the power of the sun into a capsule where we can transmit it and we can move it from place to place. So it is much, much, much more efficient than solar panels and solar, which is sort of a hard to operate and big and expensive. So we have that technology, and we have actually a, what should we say, a factory where it is produced, and we are going to be replicating that around the world. So that is our major source and backing. It's solar power. And because the word Lumi is from luminous and the illumination of the sun, we call it the Lumi. So I hope that gives you a little
Awesome.
background, just that it sounds the same, right?
Awesome. Thank you. So, in essence, it only sounds the same, but they have absolutely no relation. I'm just going to quickly move on to the next set of questions, and I am aware that we will be running out of time. So, for the people responding, if you can just keep your answers short and succinct. I'm going to
Yes.
take the next 4 questions. What can someone do if he forgets his password when his account is still pending? I will respond to that. Uh, from Zoe, I registered on the 12th of August, but the account is still pending. Does this mean if the account becomes approved, say in September, the stimulus will be for 2 months more? I'll ask you to take that question. We have encountered people in Zimbabwe making people pay for registration because they make people pay $10 to register. Will there be any remuneration? Do you have any updates on Zimbabwe's transaction? Dr. Chong, I will ask you to speak to that question. And then there is the fourth question. Is there any app being developed in-house? Um, to develop to house all African currencies to facilitate Lumi exchange among African countries. So I will take that last question as well. So just quickly talking to David's question, what can someone do if they forget their password? David, if you have forgotten your password, I recommend that you go onto platform.swifin.com, and when you are there, you can scroll to the bottom of the page and you will be able to see initiate a chat with the back office support, and they will be able to help you with resetting your password. Over and above that, when you are on the platform.swifin.com URL, there is a forgotten password link. You can click on that and you'll be able to reset your password. The fact that your account is still pending does not mean that your account does not exist yet. It means your account actually exists. It's just that it has to be verified and approved. So you can still use that forgotten password link. So moving on to the next question for Moa, registered in on the 12th August and the account is still pending. Does this mean the account, when it becomes approved, say in September, will I receive stimulus for 2 months? Moa?
Thank you for the question. As soon as you've registered and you've got a Swifin ID, even if your account is pending, you still qualify to receive your stimulus. It will come through for this month if you are registered before the 28th. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Moa. And moving on to the third question from Gloria Nkomo, Dr. Chong. People are making other people pay them $10 to register them on the Swifin platform. What is people's recourse, and how do we deal with this? Dr. Chong?
Is oh, this is my question. All right.
Yes.
Um, $10 what? $10 Jamaican, American, what? What is
Because
that?
this is Zimbabwe, it's probably $10 US.
US. Oh my goodness. Um, Actually, one of the things is that this is actually fraud. We have gone through several of these, and you can report it to the police if you would like to. But there are, let me just give you the background to the whole thing. We do not charge anybody to register. Persons who are going out there to register other people sometimes have to buy their credit on the for the Wi-Fi, because everything is done online. They have to buy credit. Now, it has been suggested that if you are buying credit, then you divide up the credit among all the people who are registering. So if you're registering 50 people, then whatever you pay for the credit is what you should, you may charge. So $10 is just absolutely too much money. So one of the things that we recommend that if it's above that amount, then it is illegal. But what we have found is that a lot of persons were told that that is how they are to start the business. So it's coming down from the person who registered them, and it is being perpetuated. So it is not sometimes intentional, but we just need you to spread it around that it is not supposed to be done. It is illegal. And I know in some areas they have reported it to the police and the people have been arrested. And in several occasions, the SOAD people have gone and bailed them out once they have explained to them the problem. So I really have no advice for you but to do your own research and to try and educate those who are around you to the fact that this is not an acceptable thing. That's about all I can advise you, because sometimes people are doing it without knowing, but it has got to stop, because it is causing you to spend what we have not authorized anybody to ask for. All registration is free. But we understand that if people are using their data that they have to pay for, then you can make a contribution to that. That is the only thing that we will accept.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chong. And I think over and above that, I have seen a video that Queen Sheba III has made around a similar issue in South Africa. And in the video, she mentions that it is illegal, just to reiterate what Dr. Chong has said. And if your account is flagged for having done this, you risk having your account suspended and losing out on all the benefits that are Lumi. So just moving on to the next set of questions. Is there any app developed to house all African currencies to facilitate Lumi exchange among the African countries? And I may just to mention that the whole Lumi initiative is to ensure that we have um, African countries and Africans in the diaspora being able to trade among themselves without the need to exchange currencies. So, if you are in Nigeria and I'm in South Africa and we needed to trade between the two of us, I would need to change my rents to the naira and you vice versa, and monies get lost in the exchange process. So, with us using the Lumi, it means I will pay you in Lumi on the Swifin platform, which is the app that has been developed. I will pay you in Lumi and you will receive the money as is without needing to exchange it, and you'll receive it in Lumi as well. So, moving on to the next set of questions. What one must do if cell phone is lost and one cannot make a SIM swap. More, I'll ask you to speak to that. Um, can we get a recording of this meeting, and how can we access the media if available? More, you can speak to that one as well. Um, and can I make my Swifin uniform as a okay? So can I make my Swifin account as an agent so that people can recognize? Terence, I don't think I understand your question. If you can just clarify. Moa, do you want to speak to those first two questions and then we'll come back to the next? You are speaking on mute.
Sorry about that. Okay, we are going to share the recording of this meeting, hopefully tonight. And just to mention that we have moved all recordings, we are moving them now to Lumi for Africa. It's a YouTube channel, Lumi for Africa. Please check it out, like it, and let's make it trend. The next question, Derato, is please
What
remind
must
me.
I do if I lost my cell phone and cannot make a
Yep.
SIM swap?
I recommend that you please use your email, because every account should have an email. Use an email as your recovery mechanism, and then you can then edit and put the new cell phone. And the question of uniform, which I did not understand initially, I think you are saying, can you make uniform clothes that will make you recognizable? Yeah, I know that's gonna have a cost to it, and I am not sure if it is necessarily illegal. But remember, Swifin is a company, so you probably would have to go through the process of securing permission to use their logo, because it is a private company. It's a service provider to Lumi, to SOAT and Eco6. So I suppose that's your question. Thank you, Doctor.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Moa. And I think where the last question, Gloria, where do I get my referrals with an ID? Moa, do you want to speak about that as well?
Gloria, if you log into your account, and after you've logged in, on the picture where there's a picture, your profile picture, if you click that, it will actually show you your profile. And the first thing that appears is your 16 long number, which is your Swifin ID. Um, and you should have received a slip, a registration success, slip, and that also gives you your Swifin ID number.
Awesome. Thank you so much more. And I think the next question I'll ask Dr. Chong if you can speak to it, because I know this is something that we have discussed several times and it's something that is passionate for you. What about those who do not have email addresses and do not have smartphones, but they need to register?
Okay, thank you. If if you don't have a email address, then you can get one made up. That's the first thing. Anybody can make up an email address for you. The person who's registering you usually knows how to make up a email address. Smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, you can register on the person who's registering you. You can register on their computer, and then the information will come to the computer, and they will get in touch with you so that you will access everything from your computer. But you also get a message, a SMS. So when you are registering, you need to say how do you want to get your information. Usually people just say email and it comes to their smartphone. But if you don't have a smartphone and you say SMS, or you can put both of them in, whether you have a email smartphone or not, you can put SMS and you get an SMS to your smartphone or your regular phone with the information of the transactions that happen. The other thing I want to mention is that persons need to keep abreast of their, I don't know what you call it, but I call it the back office, meaning what is happening on their accounts. Once their account has been approved and it is no longer pending, then you need to be able to go in and recognize what is happening, because lots of things are happening on your account that you may not be aware of. So I would like more to go through the process of getting the transactions that are happening on your account. Where do you find that? Where do you go in to find a list of all the transactions that are happening on your account?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Chong, for that. I think over and above, Julia, that is one of the questions that I brought up with the developer of the Swifin platform around people without smartphones. And hopefully, we will see other things happening. But the important thing that you need to take away, Julia, from this conversation is that for people that you are registering who do not have smartphones, one, you need to ensure that you educate them sufficiently in terms of what they need to do next. How do they access all their transactions? How do they see what's going on their account and all that kind of things? I'm gonna ask Balisa if you can take the next question. How do I trade with the Lumi? Is there a market where Lumi can be exchanged for goods? Please, in the next 30 seconds.
Oh, thank you, Loretta, for that. Okay, once you are a registered member on Surfing platform, we've got the marketplace on the Surfing platform where all the businesses which allow for people to trade in Lumi are listed. So we are able to trade currently on the Surfing platform on the marketplace. There's an icon for marketplace with various even with I know there are BNBs. I know of one in there's somebody talking. Okay, one in so what's it Eswatini. Okay? There are various places, B&Bs, businesses which sell goods. We've got different types of businesses which are listed there. That's where currently we are able to trade using the Lumi coin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Balisa. I know we are at 8 o'clock on that uh, clock. I'm just gonna see Judy. I saw you were off mute. Do you perhaps have a question that you wanted to ask? I had put you back on mute. And just while Judy's coming off mute, just to highlight, Isaac, I acknowledge your question. What is the advantage of the merchant status? And I want to actually reserve that the answer to that question for the Thursday session, because at the Thursday session we will be talking about the different account types, and we will talk about the merchant status. But before we come back to that question, Isaac, Judy, was there something you wanted to add? Question, comment? Okay, Judy did not come back off mute, so I suppose that's that. And Moa, do you want to add anything on the advantages of the merchant status, or can we just park this question for next Thursday?
Yeah, perhaps let's pack it, but a merchant account gives you better benefits because you are able to recruit in large numbers. But we can talk more about it Thursday.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And Moa, do you want to do your announcements and closing
We
remarks?
thank you very much.
30 seconds.
We have our next meeting today. It's a Saturday. We've got a Sunday summit tomorrow, the 8th one at 7 p.m. Please join us as we are going to be hearing about the experiences of those who have done NetFem before and the benefits and the experiences and how it has helped them. And secondly, we have our Thursday meeting that is dedicated to Lumi, everything Lumi. Thank you so much for joining us. This is all I will say to you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you
God
so
bless.
much, Moa. Thank you so much, Dr. Church Chong, who is the Minister of Family and Social Economy of the State of the African Diaspora. Thank you so much, Balisa. Thank you so much, everybody that is on the call this evening. We appreciate your time. I am not going to keep you much longer. I will therefore adjourn this session. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, and good evening to everyone.